here from DIYDork.com. Today I want to show you how I flipped an old used and abused office table into a really cool dining table by rewrapping it with some plywood. So check this out. It's a really simple project and it turned out really awesome. Alright, so check out this ugly table I picked up at Salvation Army the other day. It's about 30 inches wide, 60 inches long, so it's kind of a weird size. It's too big for a desk. It's kind of like a medium-sized dining table, but I'm assuming it was a conference table because it has this old Union Electric sticker on there, so it's definitely business grade type materials. So it has these really nice chrome metal legs that just need cleaned up a little bit, and then the black aprons here are actually powder coated metal. I just got to clean them up a little bit, and you can see it gets rid of some stickers and fingerprints and things like that. Now the top is the worst part. It's particle board wrapped in laminate, and the laminate's peeling off. This thing has definitely seen some abuse. So that should be the perfect candidate for a rewrap. So I should be able to keep it like it is for the most part. Now I picked it up and it was $25, but when I took it to the cash register, it was half price day, so I actually picked it up for $12.50. So this thing should be pretty awesome. So I'm going to try not to put any more money into it and only use materials that I already have. So I want to rewrap it with leftover plywood planks from when we did our floors. So they were just full sheets of plywood that we ripped down to 8 inches wide and the full 8 feet long. So I should be able to fit 4 of them on here across. I'll have to probably take them down to about 7.5 inches so that I can fit 4 of them on here just right. They're not too big. Let's go full length, chop them off, rewrap the edge with some real wood, and it should be a pretty simple little project and turn out pretty awesome. So how about I get started on there and I'll show you how I do it. Alright, so first things first, I want to try to peel off the laminate where I can. The edges will be really easy, but I think the top's going to be a little more trouble. Alright, and there we go. Now all of that laminate is off. That was a huge pain in the butt. Not fun at all, but it was the right thing to do. So now I just have the particle board surface that I can glue the board straight to, and it will hold a lot better. So now next I'm going to go ahead and just clean up the chrome legs a little bit and then get rid of the stickers and any residue on the black aprons. Alright, so to clean the chrome legs, they have little tiny spots of rust on there and then some grime. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and use my chrome cleaning trick. I made a video that shows how it works. It's pretty cool. But it'll get rid of rust and it won't scratch it or anything like that. But let me show you what that looks like when it's all done. Alright, so you can see it looks a lot better now. All those little spots are gone. So I'll do the rest of the legs like that, and then I'll move up to the metal aprons and get rid of sticker residue and just clean them up a little better. So now that the bottom half is all cleaned up, I can start working on wrapping the top. So I went ahead and threw on my plywood planks on here, and they're only 1/2 inch thick, so it's not adding too much to the tabletop here. And they have some really cool texture to them, and the grain pattern is going to look really cool. Now the thing is, I mentioned earlier, they're too wide. You can see they overhang, so I need to trim 1/2 inch off each of them because they're 8 inches wide, and I'm going to rip them down on my table saw to 7.5 inches wide. The other thing is that they're definitely way too long. They're 8 feet and the table's only 5, so I need to mark them and chop them. So that's what I'll do next. Alright, so I brought the boards in, they're all nice and smooth. So what I've done next is I made some homemade wood stain in a really deep gray, and I have a video on that as well that's real easy to make. And anyway, I'm just using the old rag here, And just soaking some in there. And then what's going to happen is when I stain the wood, the light spots are going to get really dark, and then these brown spots aren't going to soak up as much, and it's going to have a really cool look to it. Let's add a little more on there, show you kind of what it's going to look like. But it should have a really cool effect. I haven't really tried any dark gray furniture before, so curious to see how this will look. But I was trying to figure out a color that would look good with the black metal aprons on the table. I think this gray will look really, really cool. So anyway, I'll finish out the rest like that, and then once they're dry, I can go ahead and start installing them on top of the table. Alright, so now all the stain is dry on the planks and they're looking pretty good. So now I just need to install them. So it'll be real simple. All I gotta do is put a nice squiggle of glue down, make sure the plank is lined up the edges of the table, and then nail it in with my air nailer. So I'll do that next. Alright, so now all the planks are nailed down nice and tight. It's looking pretty good, but I need to go ahead and make some trim for the edge. So what I'm going to do is, since it measures 1 3/4, I can go ahead and take an old 2x3 I had sitting around, and I'll chop it up to about 1/4 inch thick just to make a nice edge banding, and I'll go ahead and stain it with the same gray stain. Alright, check it out. The trim's on there, so it's looking pretty good. So now the last thing I got to do is just seal it with a nice clear coat so it's nice and protected. So I'll do that next. Alright, so as you just saw, I ran out of light last night putting the last couple of coats of clear coat on there, but it turned out really smooth. This thing's pretty awesome. Got the chrome legs, the black metal aprons on the side, and then that gray stain turned out really cool. It's kind of half brown and half gray. Really interesting look. Haven't got that before. This was a super easy wrap with those huge wide plywood planks, but it doesn't really look like, you know, I just slapped plywood on there. It looks a little better than that. So anyway, there you go. That was a super easy thrift store furniture flip. I only have $12.50 in it. Everything else was just old materials I already had sitting around, so turned out pretty cool.